How does beyond a reasonable doubt differ from absolute certainty? Imagine you're trying to decide if someone is guilty of a crime. You want to be sure, but how sure do you need to be? That's where the phrase beyond a reasonable doubt comes into play. It's a standard used in courtrooms to determine if the evidence is strong enough to convict someone. But it doesn't mean you have to be 100% certain. Instead, it means the evidence must be so convincing that no reasonable person could doubt the guilt based on what they've seen and heard. Jurors are asked to weigh all the evidence carefully and decide if they are firmly convinced of guilt. They don't have to eliminate every tiny doubt, especially if those doubts are based on guesses or imagination. Now think about absolute certainty. That's a much higher bar. It would mean you have no doubt at all under any circumstances. You are completely sure beyond any question. But in real life, especially in court, that kind of certainty is nearly impossible to reach. No matter how strong the evidence, there's always some tiny chance of error or misunderstanding. The law recognizes this and sets the standard at beyond a reasonable doubt, because it balances the need to convict guilty people with protecting innocent ones from wrongful punishment. The difference is simple but important. Beyond a reasonable doubt is about being convinced based on evidence and reason. It's enough to make a rational person believe guilt has been proven. Absolute certainty is about having no doubt at all, which is an impossible goal in legal cases. This standard helps prevent wrongful convictions by requiring strong, convincing evidence, but it doesn't demand proof that is flawless or impossible to question. In court, jurors look for evidence that rules out other reasonable explanations. If there's a plausible alternative or questions about the evidence, they must lean toward acquittal. They don't need to be absolutely certain like they might be about everyday facts, such as knowing the sun will rise tomorrow. Instead, they need to be convinced that the evidence shows guilt beyond any reasonable doubt. This standard is designed to protect the rights of the accused while still allowing the justice system to function effectively. So, in summary, beyond a reasonable doubt is a high but achievable level of proof that relies on logical certainty. It's about being convinced based on evidence and reason. Absolute certainty is an ideal that the law does not requiring for a conviction. It's about total and questionable proof, which is simply not practical or necessary in legal settings. This difference helps ensure that only those truly proven guilty are convicted, while innocent people are protected from wrongful punishment.